Alright, since I pretty much got my pot finished, I'm gonna be making the handles for it. So, if you looked at your form, your amphora, or in this case, since I'm doing an amphora, I'm gonna do handles that go from the neck to the shoulder. So in order to do that, I need to create two equal handles. So just grab a chunk of clay. And from this chunk of clay, I'm gonna make a carrot shape. Pretty much, pinched it out and just start rolling it, but kind of like you sort of turn your hand at an angle as you roll to get like a carrot shape. So there you go. There's like one carrot. Make the next one. Try to make it match. So again, two carrot shapes. Gonna put them right next to each other, see how close they are. Alright, so one's slightly larger, so now I'm just gonna cut off. Make them the same. Put them right next to each other and just cut them together. That way you could get two equal sized carrot shapes. So there's the one and the two. And then after I have my carrot shapes, you could either, sometimes what I like to do, I just like to toss it to the table to flatten it out. Or if you have a rolling pin, just very gently flatten them out. So I could do that with my rolling pin. Just gonna gently flatten them out a bit. Kind of like putting more pressure towards the bottom, just slightly. So yeah, just flatten that out a bit. And then from here, I'm gonna start to shape it. Give it the shape that I want. What I'll do to make them both the same, I'll sort of put them one on top of the other. That way they match. Or you could also sort of like do this to make like a heart shape. And then you can see how both sides match up. At some point too, you kind of have to, I'd rather make them larger, like a little bit longer than shorter, because then I could just cut off all the excess. So kind of looking at it, if I put it against my pot, I could see that this might look a little bit too long, so I could always cut some extra off, which I think I am gonna end up doing. So we're gonna cut some off, mostly here at the top. Put them both on top of each other. Then I'm gonna cut at an angle. Yeah, there you go. So see, that looks a lot better. You can see what it's gonna look like. And you could play around with the placement. Do you want them to be higher up or closer to where the neck and the shoulder meet? Play around with the positioning and see what you like best. I think like it towards the top. I think that's where it's gonna be. Okay, so I'm gonna score and slip them together. Just grab this big sponge and I'll just put my pot on it for support. See where the handle is gonna be. We'll make an outline. And then I'm gonna score on that area. Same thing, score onto the handle. Score. There's water where I scored. And then attach. Press it on together. Make sure you press into the handle to push the two pieces together. Then blend with the tool. Just gonna see how that looks. Then we'll do the next one. Let's see if I don't know if that's gonna work. We'll just probably have to do it like this. Now make sure the handle is right on opposite of the other side, you know, because sometimes it might be a little bit off. So check from above. Make sure it's right across. Make your marks where you're gonna score. Let's see, make sure it's pretty much the same spot. Okay, blend. You can see here what it's looking like. I'm gonna make sure like those parts are pretty well blended. Because I don't want these handles to come off. What I'll do to kind of like get right on the, you know, this little area, I'll get a needle tool and then I'll blend it with that. Because I want those parts to be, those hard to reach areas, you know, just get a needle tool and use like the edge of the needle tool to make sure it's well attached. Also gonna grab a brush and sort of like brush the inside areas. brush, and then with the brush you could clean up those inside areas. Pretty much clean up, you know, the attachment. Make it look real nice and clean, so there's not like bits of clay that stick out. And make sure these, you push those in. And take a look at your, you know, your pot. How's it looking? You know, look at the handles. You know, since they're still soft, you can, you know, make some adjustments if you need to. But, you know, there's pretty much what's gonna be looking like. The form, at least. Use my sponge and clean up the whole form. Same thing with the brush. You could use a brush and clean up the handle. Now it's just all about cleaning it up. So use your sponge, you know, like wet it, squeeze out all the water, and use the sponge to, you know, clean up your entire form. Make it look smooth. Get rid of all the little burrs of clay, the little indents, you know, like shave away all those little indents. Smooth it all out, make it look nice and clean. So yeah, take your time, you know, with that. Clean it up. But there is my finished form, and there's like my amphora. This ended up being was 10 inches tall, but you know, you could make something that's 6 to 8 inches. Again, it's a lot. You could definitely get 10 inches, you know, even 12 inches of height, but as long as it doesn't get pretty wide, it's easy to control as long as it's narrow. So as far as what the width of this is about 5 inches wide. So narrow pots are just gonna be more controllable than something that's really wide, because when you start getting really wide, it's a lot harder to control all that clay. So a narrow body pot, it's gonna be a little bit easier to achieve than something that's wider. But there's my form. It's finished. Handles are attached. Next step is gonna be to decorate it. So I am gonna let this, I'm still gonna cover it, but lightly cover it. The handles are gonna dry faster than the rest of the pot, so you wanna make sure these handles don't dry. If the handles dry, they could snap off, because the handles are gonna be dry and the body's still not gonna be dry. Usually things that are thinner are gonna dry faster than the rest of the pot, so you wanna really make sure those handles stay pretty much covered up. You have to kind of control the drying. So yeah, there it is, finished amphora. And yeah, next step is gonna be decorating my amphora with some Greek style design. So I'll see you in the next video.